What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Pro. Welcome back to a brand new video. And oh my God, it is time to discuss rumors, man. We got stuff to talk about. After a long time, we just had games and stuff. Well, games are cool. We love the games. We obviously love watching the Heat and analyzing the games and all that. But man, we're here to talk about some breaking news. Now, I would have liked to get this video out a lot sooner, but apologies on that. Work calls, man. You can't really do anything about that. But listen, I had to get around to talking about this at some point today. Jimmy Butler, we got some news about him. Shams Charania has dropped an absolute crazy news piece. And basically, it's a lot of stuff, but just, in short form, the Miami Heat are open to listening on offers for Jimmy Butler, and his agent has provided a list of teams that if he were to get traded, he would like to be sent to as preferably win-now contenders. Now, this is a lot of interesting stuff to take in. Some of this is not new information, but it's good to rehash it, especially because it's a very credible, reputable source that's putting it out. Shams is like the king of news right now. So whatever he says is probably, there's probably some truth to it. If he's saying something, it's probably at least 50% true. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to go one by one. We're going to talk about the first part of it, which is the Heat are open to listen to offers on Jimmy Butler. Now, to me, this is not too surprising. And the reason is Jimmy Butler is a free agent this year. He is most likely declining his player option and wanting a longer-term extension for multiple seasons. He wants to be part of a winning situation. Ideally, he said it himself. He wants to be in Miami, but it's up to the Heat to decide if they want to pay him or not. And with the possibility of him being a free agent, it's only right that the Miami Heat listen to trade offers because they do not want to lose him for nothing. Obviously, right? That makes the most sense. Is that okay? Let's just see what his value is. We're not saying we're going to trade him, but if the chance is there, we just want to see what it would take for other teams to go get him. Obviously, we have a choice to make. I'm speaking from the Miami Heat's perspective. We have a choice to make. We can either pay him or not pay him. If we're not going to pay him, and we don't know if we're going to pay him yet, we just want to have teams that will be willing to do business with us and that will be willing to give a package to us that we would like. So we're going to just go see what his market is, what his value is. Not saying we're going to move him, not saying that we're shopping him, but just listening on offers for him. That's all we're doing. And to me, that's all they were doing. I don't think they were shopping him. I don't think they were saying, "Oh, he's up for sale, this, that. You can trade for him." No, I don't. I really just think it was just as simple as, what is your offer for Jimmy Butler potentially if he were to be traded? That's what they were probably asking and fielding for multiple teams. I think that's very, 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 very easy to understand for me. Now, the biggest thing that really puzzles me about this report, and that's not so simple, is the timing of it. The Miami Heat are currently in the midst of their best period of basketball that they've played throughout this whole season. They have been on an absolute tear in these past few games. They are 7-2 in the last 9. They are over 500 for the first time this season. Their starting lineup has the best net rating out of any starting lineup in the NBA this season so far. Their offensive rating has jumped up to top 10 in the past few games. They are clicking. And the fact that this report got leaked during this period is really, really strange to me. Extremely strange. Why would the Heat or anybody from the Heat leak this report when they're in the midst of a winning streak? So to me, the Heat did not leak this information. I can confidently tell you this. I don't have any info or source or anything like that. But in my opinion, because they are playing so well right now, it doesn't do the Heat any good to leak this information right now. It doesn't do the Heat any good. So to me, there are only two places that this report could have leaked from. Either A, it was another team that maybe that were asked by the Heat to send an offer in or at least give what they would actually give up for Jimmy Butler. Just tell them. It might have been another team who were told Shams, "Hey, the Heat came to us. They're listening on offers for Jimmy. They asked us what it would take for him to be traded to us, and this is what happens." So it could have been another team Or this could be a tactic by Jimmy Butler's agent to want to drive up a contract negotiation and want to strike up, the possibility of him being paid by Miami. Because think about it. The report leaks from Shams that Jimmy Butler or the Heat are listening on offers for Jimmy. If the agent of Jimmy has told Shams this and Shams puts it out there, maybe the agency is like, listen, we're going to tell Shams this because we want the possibility of Jimmy Butler dangling around to other teams being a thing. And then it'll force Miami's hand to pay him because they don't want to lose him. So maybe that's a possibility as well. But to me, it's really only those two. I don't think this came from Miami. I don't think this came from anybody in the Heat's organization because it does them no good. It does them no good when they're in the midst of a winning streak, when they're playing their best basketball. To have this stuff leaked out does not make any sense from the Miami Heat's perspective for this to be leaked out. To me, this is either Jimmy Butler's camp, or to me, this is another team leaking this out, that saying that, hey, Miami came to us and asked us to give them an offer for Jimmy Butler. To me, these are the only two scenarios. Now, like I said before, just because they are listening on offers for Jimmy Butler does not mean that they are shopping him. That does not mean that they're saying, hey, we are trading Jimmy Butler, give us your best offer. No. This is in the case that they do not want to pay him. They want to have all options covered. So they're doing the right thing as a front office. They are covering their bases. They're saying, hey, we have an option of paying him. We have an option of letting him go for nothing. Or we have an option for moving him. We have to cover all bases. We just want to see what his value is. If his value is, high, maybe they're gauging if the value is higher than they expect it to be. Maybe they do move him. If the value is lower, maybe they don't. So again, I don't think there's any big story there. There obviously was another part of that report saying that his agency prefers him to be traded to a winning destination. And he cited Houston, Dallas, and Golden State as three teams he would like to be on if he was not on Miami. So that's another reason as to why this could be completely all from the agent and the camp, because that second part could have only come from the agency of Jimmy Butler or the camp of Jimmy Butler. So if the second part was from them, there's no reason why the first part couldn't also be from them, So who knows? We don't know if this is from Jimmy Butler's camp. We don't know if this is from another team. But the fact that the second part of the story is from Jimmy Butler's camp for sure, the first part of the story could also be from his camp. That's a very big possibility that it could be. So that is one thing to take into consideration. On those three teams that were mentioned in the article, if Jimmy were to be traded, I would say that Dallas, I would just not be interested in Dallas if I was the Miami Heat, just because I don't really think they have anything that we would want. I like Houston. Houston has a lot of young talent. They have draft capital from the James Harden trade. Golden State has not as much as Houston, but they have a couple of pieces: Kuminga, Podziemski, Wiggins. Wiggins' contract will probably have to be in that trade if that happened, but they have some first round picks as well. Like, I think Golden State is probably like in the middle. Houston is probably the most favorable for Miami, and then Dallas is probably the least favorable. Just don't know what Dallas really has to offer. It's going to be a lot of big contracts. They don't really have any young pieces that really interest Miami. I mean, Omax Prosper from Marquette last year was pretty good in college, but again, he's not really like a highly touted prospect by any means. So yeah, again, I'm not too sure if Dallas is the best place if you're Miami, if you're a Heat fan. Obviously, Jimmy, if he wants to go to Dallas, Dallas is a good fit for him. But if you're Miami, why would you want to send him to Dallas when they don't really have anything that you would want in return? But that's just on the three teams. We don't even know if he's going to get traded or not. Like, that's just speculation way far in the future. The biggest thing right now is, like, would you trade Jimmy Butler? Like, that is the biggest thing, because obviously, if this is coming from his camp is clearly wanting him to be paid. So they're trying to put more pressure on Miami. They're like, listen, we're going to start up these rumors, pay Jimmy Butler. Otherwise, it's going to be like more of a soft trade request right now. But then once you decide to ignore it and don't do anything about it, it's going to become more formal. And that's what his camp is basically saying. Like, listen, we want Jimmy Butler to be paid. We want you to give Jimmy Butler the money. We want him to get his bag. We want him to get his long-term extension. We're going to do everything we can to do so. We would prefer to be in Miami, but if you guys are not going to pay us, we're going to try to, drive up some leveraging tactics for other teams to potentially get involved and cite some teams as destinations that he could go if you don't pay us. So I think that's the most likely case of is the case of what happened. And the biggest thing right now is, does Miami bite on this? Does Miami say, hey, listen, you know what? We're just going to pay him. We're just going to put an end to all this drama. We don't want to deal with any of this nonsense about, rumors and all that. We're just going to pay him, extend him, get this done with, and we're going to we're gonna get that saga over with. Or they could be like, okay, listen, we're going to play it out. We're not going to do anything about it. And we're going to try to extend him in the offseason. Or 3, it could be, hey, you know what? We're tired of all this. We don't want to pay you. We haven't wavered on that. We didn't want to pay you in the offseason. We don't want to pay you now. We're just going to ship you off because we don't want to lose you for nothing in the offseason. We're going to get some value back for you. We're going to start this build and go younger, and we're going to pivot and, put an end to the Jimmy Butler era in Miami. I hope the last one doesn't come true, just because I just would love to see Jimmy retire in Miami. But that's a possibility. It's for sure a possibility, something we can't really ignore. I really hope that they decide on doing something. I really hope that they just don't sit around doing nothing. I don't want this to get ugly as the season goes on. Jimmy did not speak to the media today. Spoelstra, when asked about it, said it's just, gibberish. He didn't really care about any of that. We're in the midst of a winning streak. Tyler Hero said he's not aware of any of those rumors and that the team has been, playing well and they've been getting along well off the floor. So, listen, I would just hope that the Heat either do one of 2 things. Either they pay him or they'd get rid of him. Like, don't stall this out, till the offseason, because then you have the chance of losing him for absolutely nothing. You do not want to lose Jimmy Butler for nothing. He still has some value right now. Get the most out of the value. Get some picks. Get some young assets if you want to trade him. Or you can keep him and try to get him some help. You have guys who are younger guys who are not really playing right now. Nikola Jovic, I feel like, is a prime candidate to get traded if you're Miami. And I know a lot of people want to keep him, but he's just not he's not in the rotation anymore. He's just getting DNPs every game, and it's like he was a first round pick 2 years ago, and if he's not going to play, and if we want to go all in on this team, he should be traded. Or you can, like I said, do the opposite and then trade Jimmy, trade Terry, go younger. But just do something if you're Miami. Don't just sit on idly and just do nothing. I want them to take some action in the deadline. I don't want them to just let this pass on and ignore this. Which is I think that's what they're gonna do. I think they're just gonna be like, hey, you know what? We're not really too fussed about that. We're gonna take care of it in the offseason. But the problem with that is that you risk other teams getting involved in the offseason. You risk him, walking for nothing basically. So. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. You don't want to lose Jimmy Butler for nothing. You want to keep Jimmy Butler, or you want to move him and get value right now. You don't want to wait until the offseason and then drag this whole thing around. You're going to have to deal with rumors again every month basically about him. Shams is going to be putting stuff out there. His agent or his camp or other teams are going to be leaking info about him. It's going to become a whole big distraction. You don't want that to happen if you're Miami. I'm sure they don't want it to happen either. So just get it taken care of. Whatever the thing is, whatever the verdict is, get it taken care of. But that's my 2 cents about the whole situation, man. You guys let me know down in the comment section below what they should do. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Jimmy is staying? Do you think he's leaving? Regardless, man, I just want to say Jimmy Butler did not fail the Miami Heat. I've seen people say this on social media. Oh, he failed them. He's selfish. He's asking for this and that. Listen, this man has carried us on his back for the past 5 seasons, has kept this Miami Heat team in relevancy. He has had superhuman performances in the playoffs. He has broken records in a Heat uniform. He will go down as one of the greatest Miami Heat players of all time. Without question, he will get his jersey retired here. He will be one of the best players ever to wear a Heat uniform. I don't think that's an over-exaggeration. I think that is very, very factual. If there was a Miami Heat, I wouldn't say Mount Rushmore, but if there was a starting 5 of Miami Heat players, you could make an argument for having Jimmy Butler in there. Maybe put LeBron at point guard and have Jimmy at the 3 or something like that. Because he's definitely one of the 5 best players to ever put on a Heat uniform, for sure. And I will argue with anybody about that. He has done a lot for this franchise, so please, please, please do not forget that. This guy has been failed, in my opinion, by the front office not getting him help. Star after star has requested a trade to come here. None of these stars have landed. And what can we say? You know, it's just, to me, it's a shame that we were not able to surround this guy with help. They have one last chance to do so. There's guys available, De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine. A lot of these players are available. You know, guys are available for you to go get if you want to help Jimmy Butler right now and win a championship this season. As presently constructed, they're not going to win a championship. Even though they're on a winning streak right now, the team right now is not good enough to win a title. You need to do something, and you need to do it fast, because you do not want this saga to go on till the offseason. But yeah, that's my 2 cents, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I'll see y'all later as always. Have a nice day. Peace.